Okay, so have you ever felt like, you put all this work into your website, but it's just kind of like lost out there?
Yeah, it's like trying to stand out in a crowded room.
You're saying all the right things, but nobody can hear you.
Exactly. And that's what this deep dive is all about today. We're talking SEO tools. How do we use these things to boost our visibility online?
And it's funny you should mention tools because a lot of people, they hear SEO and they think, oh, this is too technical.
Yeah, it can seem a little daunting.
But it doesn't have to be. And these tools, that's what they're there for, right? They make
Mhm.
it easier.
So it's not about becoming some kind of coding expert or
No,
anything.
no, no, no. You don't have to be a tech wizard. It's more about understanding the tools available and how they can help you. Because honestly, trying to do SEO without tools these days, it's like trying to sail across the ocean without a map or a compass.
Exactly. You might get lucky, you might stumble upon an island, but wouldn't you rather have a plan, know where you're going?
Absolutely. So what would you say are some of why are these tools so important?
Well, for starters, they save you so much time. Think about it, keyword research.
Okay.
That's like step one of SEO, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out what people are actually typing into Google.
Right.
Now, you could try and guess that, or you could use a tool that shows you exactly, search volume, what people are searching for.
And those insights, that's got to be valuable instead of just throwing things out there and hoping they stick.
Exactly. And that's just one example. We're talking about analyzing your competitors.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, seeing what they're doing, what's working for them. We're talking about tracking your progress, seeing what's working for you. And all of this, it used to take hours and hours.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Now these tools, they automate so much of it, and they present the information in a way that's actually useful. It's like having a team of experts working for you, but without the hefty consulting fees.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
100%. And it's about taking the guesswork out of it.
Because I think that's where a lot of people get overwhelmed, right? It's like, where do I even start?
Exactly. And that's the thing. You don't have to have all the answers right away. But what you do need are the right tools to help you find those answers. And the good news is you literally have a ton of options.
Though it's not one size fits all. There are tools out there for every budget, every level of expertise.
Absolutely. There are free tools, paid tools, tools for beginners, tools for more advanced users. The key is finding the ones that fit your needs and your goals.
Okay, so less about feeling overwhelmed and more about feeling empowered.
Exactly. These tools, they give you that power. It's like instead of just hoping for the best, you're taking control of your online presence.
I mean, that's a really good feeling, I think, to have that control in a world that can often feel very chaotic.
Absolutely. You're not just letting the internet dictate your success. You're shaping it yourself. You're saying,
Okay.
hey, this is my website, this is my message, and I'm going to make sure people see it.
Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, you mentioned data a few times. And I know for a lot of people, myself included, data can be intimidating.
I get that. Numbers can definitely seem scary. But again, that's where these tools come in handy.
Oh, okay. They help make sense of it all.
They translate it. Think of it like this. You wouldn't go to a foreign country without learning a few key phrases, right? Or maybe taking a phrase book with you.
Okay, right.
SEO tools, they're like your phrase book for the language of search engines. They take all that data, all those numbers, and they turn it into something you can actually understand and use.
So instead of seeing a jumble of numbers, I'm learning to read the signs, so to speak.
Exactly. And once you can read the signs, you can start making smarter decisions. And that's where data-driven decisions come into play.
Data-driven decisions. I like the sound of that. So what does that actually look like in practice?
It's about using the insights you get from the data to guide your strategy. So, for example, let's say you're trying to decide what kind of content to create for your website.
Okay, so you've got your website, you know what you're about, but what are you actually going to put on there for people to read, watch, listen to?
Right. Now, you could just guess what your audience might be interested in, or you could use an SEO tool to see what people are actually searching for in your niche. What keywords are they using? What questions are they asking?
So it's like market research, but online.
Exactly. And it's market research made easy. You're not sending out surveys or conducting focus groups. You're tapping into the data that's already out there.
And that data, it tells you what people actually want, not just what you think they want.
Exactly. And that's how you create content that resonates, that ranks well, that brings you those dream clients or customers.
It's like you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall anymore, hoping something sticks. You're making a gourmet meal that people actually want to eat.
I love that analogy. And that's the power of SEO tools. They're like your secret ingredient to online success.
Okay, I am sold on the why.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really curious to dive into the what.
Yeah.
What are some of these must-have SEO tools, and how do we actually use them? So we're talking SEO tools, the essentials. It's like, if I'm going on this SEO journey, what do I absolutely need in my backpack?
Well, you definitely need a good keyword research tool. That's your compass, your map, everything.
Makes sense. Like, if I don't know what people are searching for, how am I supposed to show up for it?
Exactly. And there are some really great ones out there. Google Keyword Planner, that's a good starting point. It's free, and it gives you a basic idea of search volume competition.
Okay, so I can see how many people are searching for a specific term and kind of get a sense of, like, how hard it might be to rank for it.
Exactly. But, if you're ready to take things up a notch, that's where tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs come in.
Those are the big dogs, right? I've heard of them.
They're definitely more advanced, and they come with a price tag, but they give you so much more data. Like, you can see your competitors' keywords, their ad campaigns. You can really dig deep into what's working for them.
So it's like competitive intelligence almost.
Exactly. And that can be so valuable. You can learn from their successes, maybe even their mistakes.
Definitely don't want to repeat those if we can avoid it. All right, so we've got our keywords. What's next?
Next, you want to make sure your website is in tip-top shape for those search engines.
Okay, so we're talking site audits here.
You got it.
Yeah.
You want to make sure there are no technical issues holding you back, broken links, slow loading times, all that stuff.
Yeah, because that's got to be frustrating for people.
And for search engines, they want to deliver a good user experience, so if your site is a mess, they're not going to rank you very high.
Makes sense. So how do I even begin to tackle a site audit?
Well, there's a really cool tool called Screaming Frog. It's like a spider that crawls through your website and finds all those technical issues for you.
Screaming Frog. That's an interesting name. But it sounds pretty handy.
It's super handy, and it's free for smaller websites, which is great. And then, of course, you've got Google Search Console.
Right, which, can we just talk about how awesome Google Search Console is for a second? And it's free.
I know, right? It's like Google is giving you all the secrets, telling you exactly what you need to do to rank higher.
Okay, but in all seriousness, Google Search Console is amazing. You can track your keywords, see how your pages are performing, even get alerts if there are any issues with your site.
It's like having a direct line to Google, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got keyword research, site audits. What about the actual content on our website?
Content, the heart and soul of any good website. And you're right, we can't forget about that.
We've got to make sure it's optimized for both search engines and human beings. Right?
Exactly. It's got to be engaging, informative, but it also needs to have those keywords sprinkled in there strategically.
So how do we find that balance? What tools can help us walk that tightrope?
Well, for starters, Yoast SEO, if you're using WordPress, that's a must-have plugin. It analyzes your content in real time, gives you feedback on readability, keyword density, all that good stuff.
So it's like having an editor built right into your website.
Pretty much. And then, if you really want to get fancy, there's ClueScope. That one uses AI to analyze top-performing content in your niche and gives you suggestions on how to make your content even better.
Okay, AI, that's next level stuff.
Huh.
I'm intrigued, but also a little intimidated.
Understandable. It can seem like a lot, but honestly, these tools are designed to make your life easier, not harder.
Right. It's about using the technology to our advantage.
Exactly. And like we said before, you don't have to do everything at once. Start with the basics, master those, and then gradually add more tools to your toolkit as you go.
Okay, I like that approach. So where do we even begin? Which one of these tools should we be focusing on first?
Well, honestly, it depends on your individual needs and goals.
All right, so we've got all these amazing tools in our SEO toolbox, but how do we know if they're actually, doing their job?
That's where tracking comes in. You got to measure your progress, see what's working, what's not. Otherwise, it's like shooting arrows in the dark.
Exactly. We don't just want to hope for the best. We want to see tangible results, right? Like,
Yeah.
How do we actually know if our SEO efforts are paying off?
And that's the beauty of data. It gives you that concrete evidence. It's not just about gut feelings anymore. You've got numbers to back you up.
Okay, so I'm picking up what you're putting down, but how do we actually get this data? What are the go-to tools for tracking our SEO progress?
Well, the big kahuna, the one you absolutely cannot ignore, is Google Analytics.
I was hoping you'd say that because I know it's powerful, but I'll admit, sometimes I feel like I'm just scratching the surface with Google Analytics.
Oh, trust me, you're not alone there. Google Analytics, it's like an ocean, right? You can dip your toes in and get some good information, or you can really dive deep and uncover some incredible insights.
So For those of us who are ready to go beyond the kiddie pool, what are some of the key things we should be tracking in Google Analytics?
Well, first and foremost, you want to be looking at your website traffic, how many people are visiting your site, where are they coming from?
Okay, so we're talking like organic search traffic, social media referrals, all that good stuff.
Exactly. You want to know where your audience is hanging out online so you can focus your efforts in the right places. But it's not just about the quantity of traffic, it's also about the quality.
So it's one thing to get people to your website, but it's another thing entirely to get them to actually stick around and engage with your content.
Absolutely. That's why you also want to be tracking things like bounce rate. That's how many people leave your site after viewing only one page.
High bounce rate, bad. Low bounce rate, good. Got it. What else?
Time on site is another big one. How long are people actually spending on your website? The longer they stay, the more engaged they are, the more likely they are to become a customer or a client.
And all of this data, it's telling us a story, right? It's not just numbers on a screen. It's giving us clues about what's working, what's not, what we need to tweak.
You got it. It's like you said earlier, it's a conversation with your audience. They might not be speaking in words, but their actions speak volumes.
So Google Analytics is our listening ear, helping us understand what our audience is trying to tell us.
Exactly. And the better you get at listening, the better you'll be at giving your audience what they want, which ultimately leads to better SEO results.
Okay, so we're tracking our progress, making data-driven decisions, but we can't forget about the competition.
Oh, absolutely not. In the world of SEO, you always got to keep an eye on what your competitors are doing.
It's like a race, right? You got to stay ahead of the pack.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? What tools can help us scope out the competition?
Well, two of my favorites are SEMrush and Ahrefs. Those are like your secret weapons for competitive analysis.
Okay, so we're talking about those again. What is it about those two that makes them so good for this kind of intel gathering?
Well, they both offer a ton of features that let you really dig deep into your competitors' strategies. You can see which keywords they're ranking for, what their backlink profile looks like, even how much traffic they're getting.
So it's like instead of just guessing what they're doing right, we can actually see the data, learn from their successes, and maybe even spot some opportunities where we can outmaneuver them.
Exactly. It's like having a playbook for your competition. You can see what's working for them, what's not, and adjust your own strategy accordingly.
And that's how we stay ahead of the curve, right? By constantly learning, adapting, and using these tools to our advantage.
100%. And you know, the great thing is, you don't have to be a tech whiz or a marketing guru to use these tools effectively.
That's music to my ears. But like you said earlier, it's a learning curve, right? We start with the basics, we experiment, we find what works for us.
Exactly. And the more you use these tools, the more comfortable you'll become and the better results you'll see.
So it's a journey. And like any good journey, it's all about taking that first step and then the next and the next.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are tons of resources out there, amazing communities, people who are happy to help you along the way.
Absolutely. And you know, that's what we're all about here, right? Empowering you with the knowledge and the tools to succeed online. So to our listeners, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep that SEO fire burning.
Hear, hear. And remember, the online world is constantly changing, so stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay awesome.